Global Inspiration is so honored to have a special guest this week in celebration of the first anniversary. She was born as a Filipino, but the first American generation of her family. She is Charlotte Deleste. She is the main anchor of Channel 3 and the co-anchor of the 6 and 10 newscast. She is also the co-host of the TV segment entitled Do Something Good. She founded Geo's Garden, a nonprofit organization that supports family who has family members that needs therapeutic care and respite services. Her commitment to community service was recognized by different groups. This is Janet Jordy at Global Inspiration, where you need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world. Let's all welcome to the show, Charlotte Deleste.
Jeanette, thank you very much for being here. It's such an honor. Really, it is. Thank you.
Thank you for saying yes to the interview. You are known in the Madison area as a journalist, serving as the main anchor for the News 3 for Madison, Wisconsin TV. How long have you been doing that? And share us this journey with the viewers.
Well, I actually started back in 1994. So it has been, let's do the math, almost 30 years we're coming on now. And I went to school at Marquette University in Milwaukee. I majored in broadcast and electronic communication. And from there, I just started applying for jobs. And my first job was as a general assignment reporter in Rochester, Minnesota. And then from there, very short time later, I landed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Then from there, I went to Pennsylvania. And then from there, I got here to Madison, Wisconsin. My husband and I were both in TV at that time. And so he was working at one station. I ended up working at the competition. And I started as the morning anchor at Channel 3 and did that for about 10 years. And then now I am on the other side of the clock when I've been doing this for about 5 years now.
Wonderful, wonderful, Charlotte. Both your parents are Filipinos. Were you born in the Philippines and did you go to any school there?
My mom was born in Cebu. My dad was born in Iloilo, but he grew up in Davao. And they came here for the American dream. And so I was born here and so was my sister. So I did not go to any schools in the Philippines, but I have visited 3 times. But it's been a really, really long time since the last time, which was 1997. It's been way too long.
When you hear the word Filipino, it equates to delicious food. Name 2 of your favorites.
Lumpia. I don't know anybody who would not say lumpia. That is almost like your first food ever. And then it's hard to say for the second one, a good pancit, you can't beat that. So I would have to say the lumpia and the pancit would be my top 2 choices.
So when was the last time you have visited the Philippines and what are the 2 things that you missed about the place?
The last time I visited was 1997 with my mom. And it was the last time actually I saw my grandmother alive. And I would say probably one of my favorites was actually surprising my grandmother. So we walked into her house and she was at one of her prayer stations, because I think every Filipino has a relative with prayer stations all over the house and certain times to pray. So grandma was at one of the stations and I peeked my head around the corner and I said, hi. And then she looked at me and she said, your hair got really long. She thought I was my mom because she was expecting my mom to come visit. And I turned to my mom around the corner and I was like, Mom, I don't think she knows what's going on here. And then my mom peeked her head around the corner and my grandmother was like, oh, you're both here. It was delightful. So I would say the number 1 thing I miss is my grandmother. And the second, again, this is too hard, Jeanette, but the second I would have to say it's a tie. It's between the beautiful beaches and the people that are equally beautiful. So That's my final answer.
Fantastic, Charlotte. In 2012, you founded a nonprofit organization in honor of your oldest son, Giovanni, the Geo's Garden Therapeutic Center. Can you share with us the upcoming fundraising events?
Yes. So Geo's Garden is named after my son, Geo, who has severe special needs. He has a rare form of childhood epilepsy called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. He also has autism, and he was also found to have a very rare brain tumor called a hypothalamic hamartoma. And there aren't a lot of people in the entire world who have this type of tumor that can cause epilepsy. And so he was born with seizures, but we didn't know that he was having seizures because they weren't the typical seizures that you would see normally, like on TV. That's the only way that I ever saw seizures was on some type of TV program. So these weren't those typical seizures that you and I have come to know. And, but we had discovered by the time he was 7 months old, we had recorded these episodes and brought it to our pediatrician and asked her, you know, there's something weird going on, especially in the middle of the night. Can you take a look at this? We think he might be having night terrors. And she looked at the video and then she looked at us and she said, those aren't night terrors, those are seizures. I have to send you to the hospital right now because we have to go through all of these tests. So we did all of that and our world was literally turned upside down. So he was only 7 months at the diagnosis. And then at 10 months old, he had his first brain surgery. And then by the time he was, I think it was six years old, he had another brain surgery. And then at 12 years old, I want to say, he had, no, actually younger than that, he had a third brain surgery to remove the tumor. But with all of these surgeries, always on the right side, his left side of his body would suffer some sort of paralysis. So to this day, he is probably about maybe 80% usage of his left side. He is nonverbal. He uses, they're called AFOs, they're leg braces to help support his leg and his feet so he can walk better. He does have a feeding tube. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't, just depends on how he is. And of course we have a wheelchair because there are sometimes he just doesn't have the ability to walk. It just depends on the day. So when he was younger, we were going through all of these unknowns. And then I had Benicio, my other son, who was born 3 years after Geo, and he was colicky. And by this time, Geo was having more than 30 seizures a day every day. And that's the thing, he was having seizures every day. Upwards, as he got older and they became worse, Jeanette, they ended up becoming more than 100 a day. And that's a lot to deal with. And you're having a variety of seizures and a variety of treatments and really not knowing if your child is going to live through the next seizure. So you take Geo's situation and then you take a newborn situation who is colicky and you're trying to juggle the two and you're going to go crazy. And I kind of did. I ended up suffering from postpartum depression that went undiagnosed. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. I was doing my best to continue working my overnight shift. And then also my husband was the main worker in the family, working 9 to 6, sometimes 9 to 7. So we were struggling. And so when Geo turned 3, we found out that he qualified for Medicaid. And part of Medicaid, you can get this service, nursing services at your house or respite service. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna look into it. And it was literally somebody would come to your house, a nurse, somebody qualified to take care of your child for a few hours so you can just get a break. And I thought, this is the greatest thing ever. So we went through all of the testing and all of the intake and with the county, and they came back saying that we only qualified for 5 hours a week. That means 1 hour a day. And that's all you got. And I said, I'm like, this isn't enough. This isn't enough to take a nap or anything. You go grocery shopping. And they said, well, you can appeal it, but they found that he wasn't, quote, disabled enough, despite having over 30 seizures a day, despite not hitting significant milestones. So I turned to my husband and I said, this is wrong and something needs to be done. So he said, he goes, you're crazy. You can't do something. And I was like, yes, I can. And we're going to do this. Sorry, you're coming along with me. So we found other parents, nurses, therapists who either experienced this or knew families who were experiencing these struggles and knew that, they need help too. So we are all going to join forces and let's do something together. And so that's when, in all of these discussions, we decided respite was the number one thing that we can do to help families right now. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of other people. So we decided to start Gio's Garden, which is a therapeutic respite care facility. It's an actual home in Middleton. It's a beautiful yellow Victorian home and doesn't look like an institution, because I was thinking to myself, Gio is not going to use this. I didn't feel comfortable asking for money to help my child. It just didn't feel right to me, because I thought, you know what, I will do this and God will help us somehow. God will always take care of us. So, but let's help other people who might not have the voice or the energy or the money or something to ask for help. So we started this facility where we help children, families, ages birth all the way through 6 years old, because by that time, they'll be in school full time and they'll be getting the services that they need. So we're filling in that gap and helping them, because just any parent, regardless, you don't get a manual about how to raise your children. And when it comes with special needs children, it's even more difficult. So we are helping all of these families who are brave enough to say, I need your help and I need a break. So we are helping these families just get that recharge of their batteries to be able to go grocery shopping when they want to spend time with their other children, to have a date with their significant other, or just to nap, just to be with friends. So just to make life a little easier for them.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. When you are sharing with us the story behind Gio's Garden, I want to cry, but I'm holding my tears. It gives me a lot of goosebumps. I was in the Gio's Garden facility a few years, like 7 or 8 years ago. We volunteered to do house cleanup for Gio's Garden. So can you share with us if there are some upcoming fundraising events?
So, the last year was really, really difficult with the pandemic, and we weren't able to have our usual fundraisers or even ones that the community would offer to have for us. And so last year, instead of we didn't have our golf tournament, and we usually have a gala, but we did something really different. We streamed a show online, and we called it the Gio's Garden Holiday Show. And it was literally like doing a TV sitcom. So, and we mixed in some music from well-known bands, and they did some collaborations of some popular music. We had videos from family members who use Gio's Garden. And we also had celebrity endorsements who were talking about, okay, here's why Gio's is so great, and here's why you need to give, and here's why you should really care. So that was like just a little bit over an hour. It was wildly successful, which was great, because we were really worried, because this was our only fundraiser for the year. So this year we already had our golf tournament, which was wonderful, but we're going to have our Gio's Garden holiday party again, but this time we're going to have a hybrid. What was so special about doing this on Zoom was I had family in Australia and in the Philippines, all over the US, even in Europe, who were able to attend live. So it was almost like they were there, and they enjoyed it so much, because theoretically they're never going to be able to come here to a fundraiser. And in this way, they were able to attend and learn more about who we are and what we do. So we're going to continue doing this, but we're also going to have another option for people who feel safe enough and want to get out and enjoy a live experience. You can be part of a live studio audience this year. So it's going to be on December 10th, and it's going to be at the Goodman Community Center. We still don't know the time yet, but my guess is going to be like, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And we will have, of course, food and beverages and surprise guests and everything. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have some more information on that within the coming months.
Fantastic, Charlotte. I understand there are a lot of viewers who wants to donate. Can you share with us the website or any social media accounts that they can go to visit?
Absolutely. Our website is giosgarden.org. That's giosgarden.org. So our website is there. There's also a donate button at the top, and there's a lot of videos so people can explore to understand really what we are about. And also we are on social media. We are on Facebook. You just got to look for Gio's Garden, and we are there.
Yeah. When you share about the background of Gio's Garden, I could tell that you really have a big heart, thinking outside of the box and accommodating these families to have time for their other family members and to be themselves, a time for themselves. Can you share with us what is the main or are the main challenges having a son with autism, and also what are the silver linings?
You know what? It's there's a lot of beauty in the breakdown, I like to say, because there are a lot of breakdowns when you have any family member with special needs. I would say the biggest challenge that I find with Gio is the inability to communicate. So the seizures really robbed his words, Jeanette. When he was little, he had about 20 words total. Most of them were actually animal noises, but each seizure just took away everything. So it's trying to build that back if he can even have the capacity of understanding that. And so we go through different communication devices, would be the best way to say it, to see how it is we can communicate besides just that mom and child knowing. And so he does use basically an iPad that he pushes different buttons and that it speaks for him, but it's very slow because it's just, they're not really sentences. He's not there yet, but at least he can click on juice or go or cat, which that's a great thing. But I would say that would be the biggest challenge, is the lack of communication. Imagine, like going to a different country where you don't speak the language and you were stuck there and you have nobody there to guide you. And you are trying to talk to all the people who are from there and they don't understand you. You're going to get really frustrated after a while, and you're eventually going to lash out in anger. And that's what can happen with him. So that would be, I would say, the downside. But I would say the upside, the silver lining, is there is so much beauty that you see, not only in him, in people like him, but it causes you to pause and accept things all around you and see the beauty of things that maybe you don't have, but it's okay. You find a better way of living. You find a better way of being yourself, and you find a way, in my opinion, to make the world better, not only for other people, but for your child. And also in my case, my sister, a lot of people don't know this, I have a sister who has Down syndrome and autism. She's 7.5 years younger than me. It's my only sibling. So I grew up in this special needs world. And she doesn't speak. She needs 24/7 care, just like Gio. But my gosh, they are some of the happiest, most joyful people you will ever come across, who don't judge, who absolutely don't judge. They are so pure. They are literally earth angels.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Talking to you this long gives me an idea of how strong you are as a mother, as an anchor, as a wife, and you have a very big heart. You and your husband, Ron Jordan, are both inspiring. He is currently the social media strategy director for Midwest Digital Marketing. You both are active with the nonprofit organization Geo's Garden, and you are still together. You have a son with mental and psychological needs. What are your secrets as husband and wife?
Learn when to walk away, learn when to shut up, right? You got to pick your battles. It's okay that things fall apart because they will and they should. I always believe that it is good for you or your relationship to break apart, because when you come back together, it is stronger and more beautiful, even with the cracks and the divots and the chips that might be in you, but it makes you stronger and so much more beautiful and better.
I agree with you that if there are some conflicts between husband and wife, you need to know when to walk away. You have a segment on Channel 3, Do Something Good. Can you share with the viewers what is this all about?
So when I was doing the morning show, I would always end the show by saying, have a great day and do something good. It just came out of me and it stuck. And after a while, I started hearing from viewers saying, hey, I took your advice today and I did something good for somebody. I was in the coffee line and I bought the coffee for the person behind me. Or they might say like, oh, somebody lost whatever and I picked it up and I chased them down the mall and I gave it back to them. And I thought, wow, I'm like, people are actually listening to me. This is pretty cool. So when I went from the morning show to the evening show, I thought, let's promote this idea of doing something good, because I know viewers are tired of hearing bad news. They say, oh, I watch the news. It's always bad news, bad news, bad news. There's never any good news. So, and you know what? I agree. I think that there is too much bad news. So I'm like, let's change things up a little bit. Let's do a segment called Do Something Good, where we have viewers nominating ordinary people. I didn't want any big organizations or businesses that were already getting publicity, who were going to get more like, hey, look at me. No, I wanted little Susie next door who has a lemonade stand in the blizzard so she can raise money for a seeing eye dog for some guy she doesn't know 2 streets down. Something obscure like that, because there are people in our community who are like that. And I got an outpouring of recommendations from viewers nominating little Susie down the street or anybody else who was doing something good for somebody else, thinking of others and not themselves. So I started doing a monthly segment promoting your next door neighbor who is making a difference in this world.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. And watching the episodes of Do Something Good, while I was watching that show, I was like telling myself, I believe in humanity, and this humanity actually exists. You received the 2012 Woman of the Year Achievement Award, and that was given by Wisconsin Women of Color Network. And you also received the Distinguished Alumna 2018, awarded by Ursuline Academy. These are validations and recognitions of your commitment to community service. Share with us this journey.
Oh, well, it's all about Geo, I would have to say. But, I take that back. In thinking about doing Geo's Garden and helping other families, and yeah, his name is on it, but really it's about my sister. Michelle is the one who taught me to be the person I am today. Geo just it was like a relay race in a sense. They just exchanged the baton. They passed on the baton. And so I think that my sister really taught me to be kind and accepting and helpful to other people. And also seeing my parents do that too. My dad is a retired physician, and he would always go back to the Philippines once or twice a year to do those medical missions, where my mom would say, literally, we are traipsing through the jungle and finding little villages to help people who need the medical care. They've always been giving, and I have been fortunate enough to be a witness to that giving, and also to be surrounded by people who agree and who do good things and who believe in volunteering and giving their time and trying to make changes in this world. And I really do believe that it all stemmed from my sister, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Excellent, excellent. We can really tell that you have a big heart thinking others in the community. What is your opinion regarding Asian hate in America? It ignited again, and it is addressed to us. What is your opinion on that?
It is so sad to see where we are. I mean, we're supposed to be living in the best country in the entire world, and I feel like we are failing at that. You know, my parents came here for the American dream, for a better life, not to be treated as second or third class citizens. You know, they have contributed to this country. They have contributed to these people who are our people, right? We're a melting pot. It shouldn't matter. But it's very hurtful to see that we're back to where we started. But the good thing about this, if there is one good thing to come out of this, is that people are speaking up and speaking out and using their voices and saying, this is wrong. This has always been wrong. It's still wrong. And we are definitely not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change. And we all are here equally, and we need to be treated equally and fairly. So if anything, I am hopeful that this movement, because it really has become a movement, is going to change things for the better for our relatives, for us, and for the generations to come after us.
Share with us inspirational thoughts or messages to the viewers regarding your life.
Do something good is a big one. Do something good, because there is no other greater feeling than being able to help somebody, being able to give of your time, your energy, your money, if you're able to, your talent, to be able to better somebody else's life. There's just no other greater feeling. And I also, another thing is, you know, everybody always there's always a struggle. Somebody's always battling something, and they don't always wear it on their face. They don't always speak it out. So I'm a big believer that while somebody might be smiling, you know, there's something going on behind the smile, possibly. There might be some pain going on behind the smile. And so I think you need to be kind, very kind to people, and just think that, you know, somebody might be a little bit off with you. Just think that, you know what, maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe something is going on, and then just give them the benefit of the doubt. So, because it takes too much energy to be angry, to be helpful, or to be hateful. You know, why bother? Why bother? We are here for a blip of time on this planet. You know, let's live life to the fullest, and let's make this life great.
Do something good. I appreciate your time today being with Global Inspiration as part of the annual or first anniversary. And it's good to know you better as a person, as a friend, as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, and as a community leader. Thank you very much, Charlotte Deleste. And this is Jeanette Jordy at Global Inspiration, where you need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world.